Hello all, I just thought I'd give you a bit of an update on what's going on at Jadus at the moment. So if you've watched some of the other videos that I have on YouTube, you would have seen that I've installed a lot of the Jadus parts on this blue bike here, which was the Jadus Test Mule 1.0. And this has actually been really helpful in testing a lot of the performance parts, including the exhaust, some ignition timing, advanced brackets, intake sort of designs, and then especially the fitment of some of the sort of styling parts of the seat and the tail loop and the tank leveling kit. Unfortunately, this bike has now been sidelined, and I'm moving on to a more modern SR250 for a couple of reasons. First, sadly, one of the bolts or one of the threads for the exhaust clamps stripped in the head on this bike. It was a legacy failure from the previous owner, and that's just completely stuffed now. So that's going to require me taking the head off and probably welding that up and re-tapping it or putting in some kind of thread insert. So I figured if I'm going to do that, then I may as well sideline it, rebuild it completely. There's going to be a new project this year. It's going to be really exciting. That's going to be a pretty aggressive cafe racer. I'm going to rebuild the engine and everything. So that's one reason. The other reason was that I've had quite a few questions from customers. Does the Jadus parts, mainly the seat and the tail loop and the tank leveling kit, fit on the modern SR250, the re-release after 95, 96? The short answer is yes. The long answer is with a little more adjustment than the first release of the SR250. So that's the other reason, is I'm going to install the same parts on this bike and make a video series of that as well, because it's a little bit more involved. But I've actually designed some new parts that some like brackets to make sure it's still like a bolt-on process. That's in the pipeline, and I may as well comment on some of the new stuff that we've got on the way too, as time and money allows. So I myself am a mechanical engineer, and I've just started a new job, which is really exciting. It's awesome, but it's a 40-hour-a-week job, and it feels awesome to be back in the workforce. But yeah, it takes a lot of my time, so things on the Jadus side are going a bit slower. But don't worry, I'm still getting all orders out and all things like that. And I still answer mails and keep up the Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. So any questions, always hit me up on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or in the info mail. But yeah, when I have time and resources, I'm working on some finned engine covers, which I actually tested on this bike here, which help with cooling and obviously aesthetics as well. And some of those parts are actually going to fit on other bikes, which is cool. TW200, some parts on the way for that, and also a oil filter cover, which is increases oil capacity and surface area for cooling. That's in the pipeline, but more specifically to the SR is a battery relocation kit or tray, and I've designed that so that it goes under the swing arm or behind the engine, which is really cool. You get a lower center of gravity, lower center of mass, and it's completely out of sight, so you get a really clean triangle. Some people like that, some people don't, but I'm going to offer that. Some new side covers, and that fit the rest of the styling of the bike, that just bolt on to the same patterns if you want to keep the battery tray or the stock battery tray in the stock airbox. We have some intake trumpets on the way, one short version for higher horsepower and one longer version for higher torque down lower in the RPM range, which by the way I'm planning on testing in the next couple of months or so when the motorbike shops here in Sweden start opening up again. And I'll have a full power curve and torque curve with comparison to stock for that as well, because we don't want to sell you shit parts, we want to sell you parts that actually bloody work. What else have we got? Short cable kit, but that's for the older version, so shorter clutch cable, shorter throttle cable, and shorter front brake cable. So that's when you lower the bike or put shorter bars on, especially clip-ons. You don't want to end up with like big black spaghetti down there, because the stock bars were big, like sort of ape hanger style bars. So short cable kit, and what was the next one? Yeah, an ignition relocation bracket. So if you want to clean up this area of your bike, this sort of whole interface here, sometimes you want to relocate the ignition, and I've designed a bracket which is in the final stages of prototyping at the moment, which relocates it down to the side here, and then you can have sort of a centered either rev counter or speedometer here and relocate the ignition down to there. So that's going to give you a nice clean look here. Those are just some things off the top of my head. Obviously there's always new stuff, new projects to be done, but the videos are now going to continue with this bike. Like I said, installation of the parts onto this bike, and this bike is getting sidelined and rebuilt, and I actually have another bike, another SR250, which is also an 83 model like this one, which is almost complete, and that has a lot of the Jadus parts on, and especially even prototype parts. I've even got some special above yoke riser bar clip-ons. Now if you're interested in the testing of this bike here, which I've already done a lot of, or the build of this other like cafe racer, I guess you could call it, some people are calling it a resto mod, other people are calling it a cafe brat, I'm calling it like a nice standard. It's a clean, simple build that doesn't sort of fit into any standard category, but it's sort of simple and sleek and those things from a design point of view. But if you're interested in the testing of that and that build, please go and check out Do the Ton forum. I've got both build threads on there. I'll put the links in this video, and likewise if you want to keep updated with any things that I'm working on in the workshop here, or testing or design development, whatever, check out my Instagram account and check out the Jadus Facebook page as well, where I sort of keep that updated, and I quite often show either customer bikes or other builds that were being inspired by here. Yeah, there's a little update for you. Happy wrenching and happy riding. Cheers.